Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weekly Meltdowns coverage of Big Brother Canada Season 9. We are back, baby, with a brand new cast, the first eviction of Big Brother Canada 9, and Allison looks thrilled about all of it. So I can't...
So excited.
For everybody watching, we had some technical issues with the Big Brother viewer tonight, but welcome to Big Brother Canada watching experience in the US is what I have to say to that. But despite all the tech issues, I thought it was a really good episode.
I thought it was too. I didn't like the first episode. I like this one a lot better. I like the way they're splitting it up into two teams, and then everyone kind of votes for everybody. I think I had mentioned that it kind of had a little bit of kind of throwback to Big Brother old school, Big Brother US season 1, when they kind of all voted for each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's so I spoiler alert, like I really liked the twist, and we'll get into that, but usually the first episode of Big Brother is just like the intro packages that like the super fans have already seen on the internet, and then they just go like right into a comp, so there's not really too much to talk about there, except for the fact that like Victoria pulled it out. She beat like everybody in that competition, which I thought was pretty impressive.
She did a great job, little Pinky. I couldn't remember her name, and I was like, oh man, little Pinky, she got it.
That's okay. I'm still learning everybody's names too.
I can't remember anybody.
Why is it that I know everyone's names, but I couldn't tell you one thing about them? No, just kidding.
We didn't get any diagrams the first episode, which I thought was like a little bit of a departure from what we usually get. But because there was no veto, because there was no like another competition that we had to like rush through, and then like a live eviction vote, no HOH comp at the end of the episode, I feel like we got a lot of breathing room in this episode to really understand like a lot of who the cast are as people. We already got some alliances brewing, some drama, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and I think this cast is going to be a good cast.
I love this. The eviction question, shade, drama was a nice touch. Yes, because my winner pick, LaToya, she keeps it real, and she's like, what?
No, I'm just laughing because it's like she keeps it real, but then she also is like, but I'm also not going to answer your question and go in the hot tub right now.
Listen, she is like, I'm in a good headspace right now, and you're just ruining it for me. So I'm going to get my awkward bikini and get in the hot tub, and you just leave me alone. But she was like, if you heard your name, you should be heard. You should be heard in your name. I can't speak. You should have heard your name. Yep. You're hurting your name because
heard it like sheep.
It's a Big Brother, bitch. Why are you complaining about somebody saying your name? It's Big Brother.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, and I said preseason in the draft, I said LaToya is probably going to play really hard in this game, and it seems like that's the route that she's going. This is LaToya's house, like everybody's just living in it, except for Julie. And what she said happened. Julie went home, and it was almost a clean sweep. So everybody voted for Julie except for Victoria and herself. They voted for Josh, which I thought was interesting that Victoria cast a little hinky vote.
Was it a hinky vote though?
I don't know. Maybe maybe she just like knew that Julie was going home. Maybe she just wanted to throw her a sympathy vote. Maybe we'll see that explained in the next episode. But
yeah. Also, I'm sorry that I'm eating, y'all. I have not eaten dinner yet, and I'm just like.
You don't have to cram it in there.
I'm cramming it in. I'm so hungry.
While Beth is cramming it in, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Yeah. So hello to Matt Henning, our wonderful moderator in the chat. Thank you as always. Adrian, Joseph, Pokemon. Hello. Romero, Dolores, Joseph Boza as always. Sam Higdon. Let's see, BB&B, our favorite Stephen Dangle,
yes.
Jack Burke, and from Beth's Twitch stream, Sassy Tanner. So thank you guys, everybody, for tuning along in with us and talking some Big Brother, some newbie Big Brother. I'm just very excited to be back in Big Brother season with new players. It feels refreshing. But yeah, so what did you guys?
Madeline Miller, welcome on in too.
Yeah, welcome everybody. So what did you guys think about those like anonymous questions at the end?
I loved them. I think that's a really great way to ask a question that you would normally get in hot water for asking by being anonymous. I mean, the only thing that they can do is like narrow it down that you were on the other team. And I hope that continues for the rest of whatever this team twist is.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like it's, I'd have so much fun stirring the pot with these types of questions.
Oh, totally.
Hold on a sec. Okay, I'm not having like a bad cold or anything.
She has a hickey.
I have a hickey. No, I had a neck procedure done yesterday, and it looks like I'm a bullfrog with the bruises, and it's nasty. And I didn't really feel like hearing Tyler's insensitive remarks.
Yeah, that's true. Although yesterday I did say I was very jealous of your painkillers that you were on.
I was in heaven from about 4 o'clock until I don't know.
Well, I'm glad that you got a little slice of heaven, and I'm glad that you like the surgery went well and you're back with us here. But yeah, I really liked those questions. I thought it was a really nice touch, and I hope that the Big Brother players realized that like the good questions were like asking LaToya, did you put Julie's name out there for an option? And then the live feed crashed and it was like stuck on the space while it reloaded, which was amazing.
So good.
And somebody asked Julie who was the weakest, and she throws Josh under the bus. She realized it was between her and him. So she's like, Josh is the one that got really paranoid about the Guys Alliance. He even said that himself. So he's in some hot water moving forward. So I might have gotten it wrong in my draft about Josh, but I'm excited to see where he goes.
This guy just like triggers my impatience. Like I can't. He's in the diary room and he's like, yeah, there's it's an all guy alliance.
I feel like you're doing an impersonation of my QuickBooks meeting I had last week.
Pretty Boys 2.0s, and I'm gonna go with that. It's either spit it out or not. Just fucking say it.
Yeah.
I have to say he's meeting every expectation I had of him, which is not a good thing.
To a T.
Yeah. I was like, but seriously, like, if you're going to list, like, I want to be in a 4-person alliance with a showmance, first of all, that tells me you know nothing about strategy in this game.
I find him oddly entertaining, though. I just...
I do fully.
I feel like he's a nice fold to everybody else in the house.
I was going to say that he's a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, like, one of the questions that they asked was, what did they ask Julie? Who's the weakest person? And you know what it is? It's like, I would say I'm the weakest person because you don't want, I want to stay. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't she say she's the weakest person?
Why wouldn't she say that? That's a really good point. We'll get to Jack Burke's comment here in a second, but that's a really good point. Clearly, I'm the weakest person on this team. So if the other team wants to go ahead and get rid of me, you're only going to make them a little bit stronger by getting rid of the weakest person. So
I was kind of shocked to hear her just completely throw poor little pasty white Josh under the bus.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Like Julie says that like she was targeted because she was weak, but I think that's totally a wrong read of why she was voted out. LaToya, like she had Julie on her radar. She said she couldn't trust her, and then as soon as Julie went to LaToya and said, "Josh told me that my name was coming out of your mouth," LaToya, she like that's all the proof that she needs, and she was validated.
That's the second piece of proof. The first piece was when she said, Josh thinks there's a boys' alliance, and he wants all of us queer people to stay together.
Yeah, and she said that to like everybody, Yeah. It was just a really cringy, and Julie admitted it right when they walked out of the Wendy's kitchen pantry, which
that's Wendy's kitchen pantry.
Welcome to Big Brother Canada. There's so much sponsorship. It's so cheesy.
I eat more Wendy's during Big Brother Canada than I do the rest of the year.
But Julie said, I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably should have kept my mouth shut, and that's the reason why she went. Let's be honest.
Seriously.
she wasn't the first one out of her team. I think it was Josh that was the first one out. So to say that they took you out because you're weak, when like I don't really think that's the right call.
Well, and let's be honest too, we're missing a lot of information here. It very well could be that the boys and LaToya said, let's make that be the reasoning, and then people just glammed onto it. But like the point is like, if clearly LaToya did that, like she went back and went, I want Julie out. I'm gonna get these boys in shape. Yeah, they're with me. I mean, they were already thinking of bringing LaToya in anyway, so it's not like she did that portion. But she certainly is running the Boys Alliance, which is what I think is hysterical. So when you have Julie come run to her and go, apparently there's a Boys Alliance. Oh, no. You mean the guys I'm with? Damn.
She's thinking like your ass is grass.
Totally. That's a shot against her alliance and such. And now she has a backup target in Matt. And to Beth and Tina's point, well, we could probably keep Matt around a little bit. He's unattached to anybody. Why would we get rid of him first? So I think that's another reason why Julie goes, is because they want to keep Matt this time.
Right. And you know, like the last question Arissa asked her when she goes out, she says, you know, what would you do differently? And she says, fight harder. So like that tells me that she has no idea why she went. So I hope that she like watches back this episode and she's like, you know, it wasn't because I was weak. It was because I played way too hard and I couldn't keep my mouth shut. So
what do you guys think about Sassy? Sassy here. The other house guests might not even know certain things Arissa called out in private conversations. There's no way that, look, y'all can read that. What do y'all think about it?
There's no way that they should be called out in front of the house. Like, did you say blank? It's an overstep and putting their games at risk.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because here's the thing. We're in a very different, this is no different to me than Tribal Council.
Yeah, they do this in Big Brother Canada, though. Not as much in
So I think that this question is pretty invalidated because like it is the other team that submits the questions. You know, it's not Arissa that's saying to them like, oh, well, Josh was really worried about all guys alliance. You know, that I would take issue with.
Who on the who are the defenders and who?
And
Destiny?
Team Destiny.
Okay, so Team Destiny won, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Tina's team.
Who over there on Team Destiny was going, okay, y'all, this is what we're going to ask. We're going to ask LaToya, did you say Julie's name?
I don't know.
Like, who over there was like, we got to ask.
Who was the third person in the bathroom? Victoria?
Tara?
Tara. I think it was Tara.
There you go. It was.
I loved Tara's face the whole time during that. It was like the Pikachu meme where she's like,
I would have been like, oh yeah.
I loved it. So what else? So of course we have to talk about one alliance losing their first member, the Dolls, Brayden, Julie, and Austin. So now just Brayden and Austin. So really curious to see like where they're gonna go moving forward. Maybe they will pick up Josh and kind of stick together in that regard.
What are you picking up though? I mean, this guy even has said to not. It's the second episode. Yeah, I really think people are, I think, looking at me like I'm a flitter. You think?
Right. Like, and so I was kind of wondering. So of course, like we got that really good moment where like everybody was like, the LGBT people were like sharing their coming out stories, right?
Yeah.
Josh is also gay, and he didn't. At least we didn't see him speak up about like his coming out story at all.
He did.
Or not Josh. Yeah, Josh. He did?
Yeah, he did.
Maybe the feed cut out at that point, but I didn't see that.
He fully went into it, and he said that he had like a really, remember Julie, or not Julie, Arissa at the very end.
Yeah.
It was like a very short thing where he was like, I lived with my mom and my stepfather at the time, and I had a guy over and I went, you see him? I'm dating him. And they were like, oh, and like that was it. It was short.
Sure. But
he's not a guy with a lot of words, as Arissa says at the very end of the episode, you know?
Yeah. It is. Okay, so I'm sorry that
I didn't hear Tina say anything.
Which
I kind of wanted to hear
that's true.
her story, because she's closer to my age, and I would kind of like to hear how someone close to my age came out.
Yeah. Well, she said that she's been with in her like original bio video. She said she's been with her partner for over 20 years. So yeah, that's a story in itself right there. So
and it could very well be that she didn't want to talk about it, and therefore that's not in the episode, or maybe she did talk about it and then said,
yeah,
whatever the case might be.
I can't wait, Sassy, for Pasty Josh to win HOH and listen to his riveting gameplay, his takedown by takedown of everyone in the house.
Even when he was in the very beginning of the episode, when he's on the couch and he's like, "Do you want a hug?" I was like, "Who hugged somebody?" They're all like cuddling up with him, and he's just like.
Yeah, he was totally not into it. Well, like, so even like in the diary room after he voted, right? Like he passed Julie and he did his like their like funny like hallway thing. But then like you could see him like roll his eyes immediately after he walked past Julie.
Oh,
so
yeah, totally
he's just like already over like everybody, right? And it's so funny to see like somebody cast who's just like not playing the game, right? Like playing like the game of like cheesing it up. Like he's just so like above any of that. I think it's funny.
The funny thing is, like, when Julie confronted LaToya in the bathroom and she's like, LaToya's like, I'm leaving this conversation. You're not going to mess up my vibe. Mm-hmm. But then again, she says she's over it. She's done with it. But then again, you stand up during the eviction and say, this is Big Brother.
Yeah.
Then why not sit there and be a tad bit respectful to Julie and say, yeah, I said your name. I said everybody's name. Mm-hmm. It's Big Brother. Why not say it then? Why do you have to make a big production out of it?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that big production was made from Julie, right? Like she's the one that immediately went up, like confronted LaToya, not even privately, right? Like Tara was in the bathroom with her when she did that. So it's
I think honestly what she was trying to do was give LaToya an out because she did not believe Josh. So when she goes up and confronts her, she's really trying to come with, isn't that crazy that he would do that?
Yeah.
And she just kind of stares at her
and she's met with someone who's non-committal in her answer and blows her off. Mm-hmm. And that is a light bulb in Julie's head. And like, guys, don't get me wrong. I was a huge cheerleader for Julie. I really thought that she was going to be like this queen that was going to have people wrapped around her finger and all that kind of stuff. And she, unfortunately, and I have to use the F word on her. She's a flop.
Yeah.
Because and it has nothing to do with other than like her just not being in control of her ability to rein in information and hold on to it, in addition to the fact that she just didn't know how to defend herself.
I'm always going to be a little weary of anybody that gets cast that refers to themselves as an influencer. That tells me that they were probably recruited and like not know much about the game at all going into it. So, I mean, it is what it is. Of course, like, do I want to see Julie go first? No, because she brought really good TV this first week.
Well, what about when Julie and Josh were talking? And who was the guy they were talking about that was laying on the couch?
Tayshaun.
Yeah.
Tayshaun.
And he and Julie's like, well, he's right behind us. Don't say anything. Josh just like, yeah, I know he's listening because he never lays on that couch. I'm like, it's day fucking 2.
But my favorite other part is
that he's never laid on the couch, Josh.
the best part about that whole Mimo says, one of my favorite things in the world about that conversation is that they had no chill, and anybody would have been able to guess that they were talking about them. Like Tayshaun didn't have to do anything. He walked out. He could have very easily come over and said hello or just whatever. He sat there, and Julie's going, literally nobody talks like this. Watch out, he's right there.
Right.
If they're not talking about you, right? But then Josh did this move.
Yeah. No shit. That was horrible. I'm like, I love it. I don't want Josh to ever leave.
So we have some breaking news. Apparently the feeds are back on, and this isn't confirmed. This is just on Twitter, but apparently Austin has won the HOH for the week.
Ooh, that's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how HOH works with the teams.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Defenders or the de-influencers?
Let's see. I always have to look at Joker's
Destiny.
Let's see.
Defenders.
She's on Team Destiny, so Tina Thistle's team has won again.
Here we go again.
So, but we have to remember, I think Kiefer is up for eviction from the Team Defenders team this week. So
and we haven't really been able to see. We saw a little bit more of Tina being able to form like a little threesome with Victoria and Beth, but we haven't really seen who Kiefer is aligned with. He's obviously not in with the guys,
right? And
he's not in with the dolls or anything like that. So is this a problem for him?
So that's a good question, is like, where does he go? And, maybe now that Austin is HOH, she has a little bit of power with like having her own bedroom. That's what Matt is saying. She gets the luxury of the HOH room. So, she has a space to like bring in people and talk to them and have conversations. And Austin just lost Julie. So I think that she could be looking for somebody. Kiefer is probably not going to work with like the Alpha Bros, like the Pretty Boys 2.0, if you will. So, if I were Austin, I would say pick Kiefer up,
But is there really a Pretty Boys 2.0 alliance, or is that Josh's paranoia?
I could see it happening, actually. Like we got in the very first episode, one of the very few things that we saw was Jetson and Tyshawn like bonding right away. And then LaToya, like when she was like talking to them about being in alliance with them, like the body language to me was so clear, right? Like she was on one side of the room and the two guys are like so close together, like basically like in lockstep already, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Beth, I know you said earlier like that you think that she's controlling this alliance, but I almost feel like she's really safely like third out of the three of them.
I think she's in control, but she's on the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
She's not anywhere near like in terms of how they all view her.
Yeah,
that's the weirdest part about this, which I actually think is an advantage for her, is that if there ends up being Tyshawn and Jedson versus Rohan and whoever else. If she's the fifth, she gets the tug of war, but she's also kind of probably controlling that too. So
yeah, that's true.
I'm interested to see like what happens with her. It could be very negative, but just the way that she's been playing, like I think that she's going to be able to handle it. One thing I do think, if you're Brayden and if you're Brayden and you're like probably ride or die right now is Austin, just one HOH, that's great. Don't you think this is the time for Austin and Brayden to lock down an alliance that is, if you're Brayden, you want more people on Destiny on your side, and if you're Austin, you want more people on Defender on your side. So isn't this the time where they come together and go, okay, we need like 2 and 2, here we go. Both sides.
Yeah. Well, I really, so like in this first week too, like LaToya said, like, we don't have to like stay as teams. We just need like the majority vote and then it doesn't matter. Right. So I like that, like they're already thinking about like, it's not Survivor, right? Like we're not like tribe loyal to each other. Basically we're just winning immunity as a team. And then it's every man for himself. Right. So
but then you have Tara, but conversely, then you have Tara that's saying we should be voting as a team because it strongholds the other team to have to get rid of who we want.
I feel like Tara's going to be all over the place this season.
I'm actually really interested to see what happens with her. I can actually see her like going out really early, or I could see her making it relatively far. And it's just like, what are you doing? But I'm excited for the ride.
Allison, what do you think about Tara?
Is that the one that was in the bathroom when the drama was going down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah.
I can't remember a lot about her, but I do like her. I do remember, was she the one that got in the diary room to vote and was like, hey, was that Beth?
Yeah.
That was Beth.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, and I've got earbuds and watching this on my computer. I was like, oh, is she going to be loud like this every time she gets in the diary room?
I hope so for her.
Listen, all I'm saying is that she's me. Okay. And that's exactly how I would get in the diary room. And Tyler's still an asshole for stealing her from me.
Listen, I think Beth had
Josh. Who's got Josh? Who did we get Josh to? Oh, how the hell did you get him?
I have Beth
Who do
and
I
Josh.
have? You should bring up the board.
All right,
I need to see who's got what. I don't even know who I
So I'll bring up the draft. I do want to talk about Beth's week because I think she had a really good week. But we'll do this first. Let's see. So,
for clarity's sake, he's talking about Beth in the game, not Beth in real life, because Beth in real life.
Yes, Beth in real life is always a winner in my book.
Beth, did you get your hair done?
No.
I don't. It just looks. It looks like you did.
That's good.
It looks real pretty.
No, my appointment is in 26 days. And
6 days.
And I'm going to cut off about this much.
Are you really?
And
that's exciting.
It's going to be about 5.5 inches. Thank the Lord it's getting out of here. And these roots, gone.
It's going to be a new Beth. New Beth, new year, new you.
There you go.
Oh, Sam. I mean, I know you're talking about the house guests, but I will never get sick. We will show every single one of these comments all season, and by we, I mean me.
That's right.
And any comment about Beth is going to be highlighted on our show. Okay. So here's the draft. So Beth has lost her first person, unfortunately, but it looks like Tyshawn's in a really good spot.
Yeah.
Here. So I think that you're clear. I think that you're good. Allison, you had a pretty eventful week on your team as well.
Are we shocked by this?
I also think that I feel like I have the really good and the really bad. I feel like Beth had a really great first week. I really liked how she said, like, let's keep Josh in, use him as a meat shield because he will always be a problem. I thought that was really wise of her. And I feel like everybody's going to her and including her in these, like, I want to work with you. Let's make a group. I feel like Beth is like always in the room for those conversations that we've seen so far. So I like my pick so far with Beth. Josh still has a little bit left for room to grow.
There's room to improve.
Yeah, exactly. He's had a rough first week too. So,
yeah.
So
I think Henning brings up a good point. Victoria's the one that won the comp for Team Destiny.
Yes.
Rohan had an interesting week where he very well could have been the target, but it quickly got off of him. But I don't think it's to his credit. I think it's really more to the fact that Julie and Josh were putting targets on themselves.
I'll be honest. I was very nervous that Rohan was going to be the first boot, and I was going to be very sad about that.
I think so. Allison's team, obviously, we talked about. Rory's team is also interesting because Jensen's in a good position in the game, and I think that Tina's in a good position in the game.
I'm so surprised. I love how she's getting along with, like, the older people are getting along with the younger people, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think
cutting up in the bathroom, it made me laugh. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, she seems to be doing a really job integrating. And honestly, looking at Rory's team together, I feel like I could see Tina and Jensen having like a really strong secret like pair alliance, right? I don't know. I could see it.
And then, Kiefer. So out of the two team captains, I feel like Tina really takes the cake with having a better week.
Yeah.
Not just because her team won, but because of the way she was able to integrate herself within the house and with the. Kiefer, I don't think is in a horrible spot, but it is questionable to see what's going to happen with him. We don't really know where his relationships lie.
I still think he could be a Pawn Star. I think that's where he could end up here.
I just love Kiefer. I love his comment when he and Tina were watching everyone come in, and he's like, I got to fit in with these people. I can't even fit in my clothes. I was like, Kiefer, stop it.
I was like, everybody in quarantine can relate to that. Yes. I also really like the segment where they, he spoke his native language, and I'm sorry, I don't know, like, as an American, I don't know too much about this, so I apologize, like, for my ignorance. But I think it was like Haida or something. But I would assume it's like Native Americans for Canadians, and I'm sorry that I don't know more about this, but it seems really cool that like they recognized in the first episode that they're using like their land during filming and stuff like that, and then they got like this spotlight as well. So I just liked that inclusivity there.
Absolutely, I think that Haida.
Haida.
Thank you, Sassy Tanner.
Pronounced Haida, but I'm not sure. So, Kirsten McInnes from RHAP, obviously is Canadian, was kind of on BB Can. She tweeted something that I do think is really important, which is the Canadian government did everything they could to eradicate Indigenous language and culture. Kiefer is showing us right now that they didn't win and they won't win. So appreciative of him sharing.
Wow.
Both the United States and Canada have a really dark history of, and something that I'm starting to see literally over the past month, I haven't seen this literally any other time. So I'm happy that it's really growing, is the idea of, I was in a conference, I work at a university, and I was at a conference where we were talking about diversity and inclusion. And the first thing they said was, do you ever recognize the land that your college is on, and the history of that land? And for my college, I am 30 minutes away from a Mohawk reservation called the Akwesasne Reservation. And I know for a fact that white people took this away from the Mohawks and the Akwesasnes. And to this day, there's still loads of issues within both the Canadian and the United States governments with deregulating their schools so that they can't teach their languages. And the way that they were treated in schools just over the past 100 years is abysmal and awful. And so having a moment for them to reflect on that is not only just like a powerful thing, it's something that we should all be pausing to think about and say, like, whose land was this beforehand? And what are we doing to honor that? Because I guarantee when we talk about, Black Lives Matter, and we talk about making sure that we're all these different races who have horrible histories within our country with systemic racism, Native Americans are often pushed off to the side. The last ones to be thought of. And so I do think it's incredibly important that we start really thinking about these things. And I'm sorry for the tangent, but I'm really happy.
No, you're fine.
No, I mean, Kiefer said like there's only like a handful of people left that even know the language. So the fact that it got like televised like that that in itself is a victory, just that like spotlight, that recognition. I can't imagine like being in that position, but like also realizing like how important like his specific voice is like in this season. So really great casting choice here with Kiefer. I'm really happy with him so far.
Totally. I think he's going to be a really fun person to watch, not just because he's a fun person, but just because of like, what is his position in the game going to be, and how is that potentially going to mess up other people or help other people?
Yeah. And that's why I really liked this episode, and that's why I'm like thumbs up on this twist so far. I reserve the right to change my mind if I think it has gone on for too long, or if it just becomes like a Survivor pagonging. But we really got a lot of time to know these people. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of who almost everybody is. Like we didn't really hear too much from Kyle, but I think we kind of get like who he is.
That's the fourth person for the guys.
yeah. We didn't really hear too much from Rohan himself. We heard his name being floated around a bunch, but they decided not to go for him. So I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm sorry, can you put the graphic one more time of the draft up? I just want to make sure that we touch on all of our patrons' teams as well. And so the last one was Valencia's team. So both Andrew and Valencia were not able to take part in the draft with us. So they kind of unfortunately got the quote unquote leftovers. But with a cast this interesting and strong, I don't think that's a bad thing. Valencia has, I think, a really interesting team here with Brayden and Tara. I really think that Tara, like we mentioned earlier, has the potential to go really far, but it might also be someone that just kind of shoots herself in the foot. I think that Brayden is, I'm really hoping that Brayden doesn't have this like, I'm struggling to make a connection to a previous BBUS person, but I just really hope that he's not somebody that just like goes pre-jury because he's a loud, confident personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, I mean, your first or second.
Am I wrong?
Well, actually, so a lot of people compare Brayden to Gary from Big Brother Canada 1. He was brought back from Big Brother Canada 5 as well. He was the original runner-up, and the only reason he lost is because somebody voted the wrong way on accident in the live finale.
Okay. I can't even get into it.
About that was like its own thing. But Arissa Cox had to like cut to commercial because Topaz was like, wait a minute, that's not who I voted for. And Arissa's like, the rules were very clear. Valencia says, had I picked my own team, I would have picked Tara. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Tara and Brayden are in really good under the radar spots here.
I mean, Brayden's game really depends on what happens this week, in my opinion, because I think people kind of at first were like, Brayden, and he was also last chosen for, like, he wasn't even chosen. He was like just left over for the team.
Yeah.
But I think that people, and he got called out, like, are you just making relationships with everybody? We see you talking with everybody. And
I know.
I thought he did well, but
he did. I think he did. I love his coming out story.
Yeah, I did too. And, he's also a good friend of Kirsten McInnes from RHAP. So I feel like he got a lot of like training from her in terms of like what to look out for, what not to. I'm sure that he had a lot of conversations before he went into the house. So I feel like he's going to do well. And I see him integrating himself into this cast very well, despite this threat of like the alpha males plus LaToya becoming like a problem. But with Austin winning the HOH, we'll see. So the 6 people up for eviction this week, if it is like the team thing again, are Jetson, LaToya, Josh, Kiefer, Brayden, and Rohan. Rohan, sorry if I'm saying that wrong.
Kaser. It looks like Kaser. He reminds me of Kaser in this picture.
Yeah, it's very like mastermind.
It's the smile.
Yeah. But I think that Josh might be in trouble here.
God, I hope not.
I don't know. So here's the thing. So now it's potentially going to be like 7-on-6, or you know what I mean, for votes. Mm-hmm. So at the very least, they can force a tie again. If the other team really wants to keep Josh around, which sounds like at least the 3 girls do, of Beth, Tina, and Victoria, if they can influence the rest of their team to do that, then that just screws over the other team even more.
Yeah. I don't know. Gosh, I hope that they can kind of flip one over on the guys. And how big of a shock would it be if like Jetson is like the next to go? I feel like that would really shake things up in the house and lead us towards like an interesting season that's not so like big alliance dominated. But I don't know. We'll see. Any last thoughts before we head on out? There's not too much to cover strategy wise because it's the first. The feed literally just turned on, so we'll see what we hear. But yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I'm not going to be probably watching a lot of live feeds, so don't come at me if I don't know what I'm talking about. But then again, I never know what I'm talking about, so that should shock no one.
I do think that's an important thing to bring up, though. I can tell you for a fact I won't be watching Flight.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it has nothing to do with my lack of interest in it. It just has to do with my excess of other things I have going on and need to have my focus on / what I want to do in my free time. So when we're covering the show on Thursdays after the eviction, be aware that there's going to be things that Allison and I don't know. And maybe Tyler will know. I don't know if Tyler's going to be watching the feeds or not. I point to you for that. So
I'm gonna
I will be watching feeds. Big Brother Canada is my baby, like even more than Big Brother US. So like I'm all in on it. So I will definitely lead the way for us like covering Big Brother Canada for the first time. Or not the first time. We covered 6 and 7 before we gave up on that shit show of the season. But with Beth, her first season, I'll say that. So I can't wait. I'm very excited. So Beth, like this is your first experience with Big Brother Canada. Like what did you think about it in terms of like changes from the US that we're used to Canada?
I think the number one thing that I'm happy about is that if this was the first elimination in the US, you can pretty much bet that it was a transphobic thing. And I can honestly say I don't think there was any transphobia here. This was purely just because of how she played the game or didn't play the game.
I agree.
And that to me is the biggest difference that I've seen. No, but in seriousness, I really, really appreciate how they're handling the twist. I mean, I love Arissa as a host. I just, generally speaking, I need to see a little bit more, but I'm a little bit more excited. My first pick left on day 2, or not day 2, but like episode 2, and I'm still psyched to see what happens. And that wouldn't happen in a Bibby US season.
Yes. Allison, do you have any last thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I just hated the first episode because it was basically just a recap of the dadgum videos they shot at home. But then we really got to see stuff in the second episode because I was worried. I told Tyler, I said, this first episode is shit.
I feel like that's what we always say about it's just to like start off the season, you know. One last thing. Wait, sorry.
I'm excited to see what happens. I haven't been excited. I mean, I like Big Brother Canada, but I'm actually never been this excited about Big Brother Canada.
Yeah, I think we're all really looking forward to a good season of something. I think we have earned that at this point after Big Brother 22. One last thing. So this is our first time talking about Big Brother Canada 9. So we will look back on this retrospectively and see. I want us to predict one name who we think is the winner of the season. So whoever wants to go first can.
I think it's going to be Austin.
That would be very cool.
I think Tina.
I would like to see that. I'd like to see an older lady win.
Man, I want to say Josh, but I know that's like way too risky. I'm gonna stick with my first pick. I'm gonna go with Beth. I think Beth is the winner of the season.
Beth is like, Beth's the winner.
I will always pick Beth. Wait, Beth, who did you say for your winner?
Tina.
Okay, so we have Beth, Tina, and Austin. So a woman is winning this season. You heard it here on My Weekly Meltdown.
What is the gender breakdown of the winners on BB Can?
Okay, so first season was Jillian. Second season was John. Third season was Sarah. Fourth season was Phil and Nick. They were twins that played as one player. It was really stupid. Fifth season was Kevin. Sixth season was Paris. I loved that season, Big Brother Canada 6. Seventh season was Dane. And then eighth season never happened. So it's pretty even.
It's pretty even, yeah.
It's time for a girl to win.
For a woman!
Yeah.
I thought, didn't Suzette win a season?
No, Suzette was pre-jury, but we loved her. She was amazing television.
Oh, yeah, I played a game with her, and the whole time I was telling her, it's so cool that you won Big Brother Canada. And Rich never won. That's right. Yeah.
I love it. She was the first HOH in Big Brother Canada.
Oh, I'm a moron. Yeah, I know.
Wait, time out.
Did she correct you?
Wait. Are you?
No, she never corrected me.
Now?
Do what?
Are you just figuring it out now?
No, I knew it, but I had a brain fart. Like I went back 5 years just now in my little Allison time machine. The DeLorean went flying at 88 miles per hour and went back to that time. And I remember the other girl, she is a legend. The other girl, Cindy corrected me. And I was like, Suzette didn't correct me. She's like, well, I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah. She was a mess, but we loved every second that she was in the house. Joseph Boza says he wants Rohan to win. Sassy Tanner says Beth or Kyle. Matt Henning doesn't give an answer. He just says you're all wrong. So
no, he says my team will be the winning team. So he wants either Victoria or what was the other guy on his team? Who was the other person?
Let me see. It was Rohan. Yep. All right. So we shall see. But with that being said, we'll be back next week to talk about the next episode of the challenge. And then we will be back next Thursday to talk about the second evictee of Big Brother Canada and the second week, Austin's HOH, all of that fun stuff. So I'm excited. I can't wait. If you need a way to watch Big Brother Canada, message me on Twitter or Instagram. I will hook you up and give you the resources to do that. So with that being said,
hold on. Be sure if you're interested in becoming a patron.
Hello, Jesus Christ, Tyler.
Sorry.
We do have a Patreon. So if you're interested in supporting the show, if you like what you're seeing, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/myweeklymeltdown. We like to do drafts with and like have people come on who are patrons and do a lot of fun things with our patrons as well. If you would be so inclined, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, drop a rating in a review. It helps us get a little bit more visibility with so many different beautiful Big Brother podcasts out there, and then a couple who aren't as good. We would like, no, that's a joke. We definitely want to make sure that we're getting as viewed as everybody else as well. So if you would help us out in that way, like and subscribe, share the video, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Please subscribe on YouTube.
Yes. Please do that. And leave us a comment who's saying who you think the winner of the season will be. I can't wait to see.
I agree with Ethan. Julie's still winning. Bring it on.
There you go. She won in our hearts. You know, you can't, if you're a queen, you can't play a game with a bunch of commoners. So with that being said, everybody take care. Have a good night. Wear a mask, all that jazz. And we'll see you next week. Bye.